Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Right now, you'll notice the ES sitting at the lower extreme of the recent decline, sitting right above the previous year's low at the moment. Very narrow few days here at the bottom of the range. It appears as though the ES may be a bit overextended to the downside, and we could see a little bit of a bounce up ahead. And the key level to watch here is 3760. 3760 above that level opens up some upside here back toward 3875. 3760 is the previous week's midpoint, and so far we've seen a little bit of strength from the previous week's close up toward the weekly pivot range, and above that 3760 starts to open up 3875 ahead over the course of the early part of the week. Again, we remain in a very clear downtrending move here, and overall any bounce into this zone up here could still provide some selling pressure down ahead, but from a short-term perspective, above 3760 opens up to 3875 up to 3900. At the very least, to retest some of this previous support here. But beyond that, again, this market will have to prove it to the upside, as every bounce has been a selling opportunity throughout the year so far. If we take a look here at the NQ, right now the NQ is up a bit, 1.6% on the day so far. This one is already above its previous week's midpoint. The previous week's midpoint here is 11,454. Is currently just above that zone right now. If it can continue to stay above that area, push through 11,500, it opens up the previous week's high price at 11,800. So 11,800 could be the next target up above on the short-term basis. Perhaps it can push a bit beyond that. But again, this downtrend has been fierce. Any bounce has been an opportunity to see another round of selling pressure until proven otherwise. Taking a look at crude oil right now, crude oil up 2% at the moment. This one had quite the meltdown here from the 117 zone all the way to 106. That was a huge day down. We're seeing a little bit of a bounce back here so far during the current session here, and this little bounce back right now could provide a bit of a bounce back toward 116, maybe a little higher, but it appears as though the previous month's close price, just shy of 116 here, has been offered, and right now price is attempting to push back down toward the next support level below. Call it 95 right here. You have the 115 here. And that failure right now is going to be important, because any bounce back, you may see bears come in and defend that zone and look for a continuation downward. So that failure of market structure at 115 is very significant. While we could see a little bit of strength here back toward that area, watch for signs of selling pressure that could turn this thing back toward about 95s ahead. Taking a look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin up 3% right now. This one seeing the cash prices drop below 18,000 over the weekend. A little bit of a bounce back here to 21 at the moment. For the most part, still trying to hang on to 20,000. This one remained dead in the water at the moment from a short-term and long-term perspective. And again, this one hasn't really been able to put together two strong days back to back. You know, one day up and a hard day down. And even if it were to rally really nicely, say to 24, 25K from below, that could still provide another opportunity to push this thing downward. Remember, the idea was that once this thing broke 28K, we were likely going to see a push to 18K, followed by a continuation that could take us toward 15,000 and maybe even as low as that 12.5 level, so that price retrades through this thin portion of the profile. So still very, very bearish here for Bitcoin. Taking a look at Ether futures, this one also dropped a bit over the weekend here. The futures don't reflect it as much. If you take a look at the cash price here, you can see how cash dropped all the way down to 880 880 on the low here over the weekend. We got to our triple digits on the cast. We got to the 902 half key range target, and then we've seen a bounce back, now trading 1150 on the cash. Taking a look back at the futures again, you can see trading 1147 at the moment, narrow range here again. The futures haven't hit the triple digits or that 902, but the cash has. Overall, again, very bearish here, so even if it were to bounce on a 1 or 2 day basis, we could still see additional selling pressure ahead. Remember, 717 is the previous year's low in this one, and we could be hunting that low down the road. So again, narrow range right now. We could see a little bit of a modest bounce, but this market has not been able to hang on to strength at all during Q2 and especially for much of the year. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.